Thank you all for coming to this town hall forum. First and foremost, I wanted to let everybody know why I decided to have this forum. As a couple of weeks ago, when I announced this forum, our current Congresswoman had not scheduled any town hall meetings in our district. Amen. And as Americans, as Granite Staters, as people who I think are the most engaged in public service and most engaged in governance, we have a right and a responsibility to be able to question our elected officials. So it became increasingly concerning to me that our congressman chose not to hold this kind of forum. So I decided, let's hold one and invite anybody who would like to attend. So first I want to encourage anybody who's here to ask a question whether you support the proposed H.R. 3200 legislation, whether you have concerns about it, whether you oppose it, or whether you have opinions that you want expressed in a public dialogue. That's why we're here. That's why we want to be able to send a very strong message to our elected officials as to how to deal with this very, very important legislation. Now, first of all, let me tell you what we're talking about. This is the legislation. It's 1,100 pages. Now, first thing I want to say is I've read it. And it's so convoluted, I have to read it a second time. And I'm probably going to have to read it a third time. Here are the couple of things that I have concerns about, first and foremost. I'd like everybody to know what my position is on this piece of legislation. First and foremost, I can tell you and the public that I oppose it, and I'll tell you why. First of all, anything this long can't be good for America. Second of all, as many of you probably know, over the next 10 years, it will cost us $1 trillion to implement. That is just what people are saying today. The White House, the office, or just the White House is saying $1 trillion over the next 10 years. Now, I think that cost is probably going to soar even higher. Now, today, we have a deficit of $9 trillion. How many people remember a week and a half ago it was only $7 trillion? Now it's up to $9 trillion according to the White House. And they want to add another $1 trillion to that deficit. I think our priorities are wrong. I think our priorities need to be focusing on getting our economy back on track. I think we've got to restore jobs to everybody who wants one in this country. We've got to get our economic engines running again so we can, as a country, prosper. Now, I want to tell you a couple of things on where I think reform in healthcare is necessary and where reform should occur. We have, I think, the best healthcare, the best quality healthcare in the world right here in the United States. Do we as Americans have concern with cost? Of course we do. And we should be focusing on trying to contain those costs, bring them down, so if you're a business, more of your money allocated for your employees goes to salary rather than just benefits. If you're an individual payer and you're paying $1,000 a month or more, we'd like to try to find ways to bring that cost down so you have more disposable income to choose and spend the way you see fit. I think we need portability, erase those borders across in all 50 states so you can go and purchase health care, health insurance anywhere you want in the country, just like and in New Hampshire, when we don't have enough docks in certain parts of our state, because tort reform has not occurred, is a problem. I think we've lost it a little bit in this country. Personal responsibility. We should not be blaming other people for the choices that we are making. Rather, we should be making better choices about ourselves so we can then live longer, live healthier, and focus on lifestyle changes that will improve our longevity, that will compare us to European countries who have far better health rates than we do. That alone would drive the cost down of our health care. And we've got to get around that. That's not about legislation. That's about personal responsibility and personal freedoms. Now, we're here to ask me questions, make your points, tell me what it is that you want to see in healthcare. I'll answer every question I can for the next hour or so. So let's get right to it. We've got a couple of people who have microphones who will, if you raise your hand, if you wouldn't mind just stating your name and the town that you're from, if you're comfortable with that, and I'll answer as many questions as I possibly can. And the first question is this gentleman in the back.
I'm James Lepusky of Londonderry, New Hampshire. What's your take on medical savings accounts?
Well, I think they need to be part of the reforms. The question is about what is my take on medical savings accounts. Here's what you can do if you have a portion of your dollars going into your own medical savings account. You have responsibility over your health care. You have direct access to the decisions that are being made about your own care. That is so critical to reducing the cost of health care. So first of all, I support them, and I hope that we all have access to them and we all utilize them. So you can make decisions through the course of the year as to what you put into it and what you use those dollars for.